This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Mike Sedita.
Hello out there and welcome to episode 114 of the Good Neighbor Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Sedita, and I am joined today by the service manager for Alpine Plumbing, Caleb MacCullough. Caleb, how you doing today?
Doing great, Mike. Thanks for having me.
So glad to have you on. I have seen you around the community here serving, the area, and it's great to finally get you on the podcast. If you're not quite aware or familiar with what we do and how we do it and why we do it, let me fill you in a little bit about the background. Back in 2020, the Good Neighbor Podcast was started during COVID when everybody had to be socially distant. And over the last couple of years, it's evolved into a national brand. So our goal is to bring a national brand to a local audience. We have podcasts in Denver, in Atlanta, in Virginia, and we get people who are trying to have their business in the community, have their philanthropic group in the community, and make residents and homeowners and families aware of what they have going on. I'm the person here in Tampa that gets to do that with business professionals like yourself. So tell us a little bit first about Alpine Plumbing.
Yeah, so thanks again for having me. Alpine Plumbing, we have our history is probably what I really think sets us apart, and I really love telling. So it's actually my family's company. I am a fourth generation plumber. So my great grandfather fought in World War II. When he came back in the 1950s, what we now know as suburbs or communities really started taking off in the real estate. And he wanted to get in on the building of these suburbs. So we started a plumbing company in Denver, Colorado. And he started that in 1979 after being in the trade for a couple of years. My grandfather married into the family, came into the business. In 1985, he actually moved it down to Tampa. Started the first project he ever started was Tampa Palms, which we all know and knew Tampa. And okay. And then in 1992, my father married into the family and joined as well. And up until this year, we've only done new residential construction track homes for builders like MI Homes, Lennar Homes, D.R. Horton. And we've really taken a lot of pride in since 1985, kind of helping build the homes of our community here.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. So you're the main focus of Alpine Plumbing for the past since 1985 in Tampa has been basically helping build in and plumb all of these new subdivisions that are going in as they go in.
Yes, sir. Exactly that. And like I said, up until this year, now we're finally being able. I'm launching our home service division to be able to service those homes once after they've been built. So it's exciting times.
That is pretty incredible. So let me ask you this. I mean, when you're as a young man, I mean, is your destiny pretty much played out? Like you're born and they're just like, listen, here's a faucet player. Like you didn't have like a transformer. You had like a faucet when you were a kid to play with in your crib. Is that how that worked?
I want to be here, stand here and say no, but there's actually a picture of me with my first steps wearing an Alpine Plumbing onesie, the same color with a plunger in my hand. And I will say my family never really put pressure on me to choose the trade or do anything like that. They gave me the freedom to become or do whatever I wanted to be. And, but thankfully this just was a great fit. So I decided to continue the tradition.
So it's multi-generational family stuff. The day-to-day currently, are you guys still involved with the building of the Tampa? I guess it's now it's like a sprawl. I mean, it's like just spread out so far. So the suburbs, the rural areas are now the suburbs. So are you guys still involved in that with MI Homes and Lennar and places like that? And this is just a whole other division that you're kind of starting to kind of, I don't want to say supplement, but to branch out and offer additional services?
Yeah, I mean, it's just another way to help our community and help our customers, right? So, but yes, we are still very involved in the new residential construction. Like I said, we just started this year. So right now it's kind of me and my dad heading up, getting this ball rolling and getting it started. And you've seen me around at networking events and just trying to get the word out there to all of our customers that have don't even know if they've already used our services. A lot of people.
That's exactly what I was going to say, right? So like when you move into a new house, like, okay, so I lived in Quarry Lake, okay? not Tampa Palms, but
We
New
plumbed
Tampa,
those.
right? So a lot of those. Now, a lot of those were custom. Like there's a lot of tract homes. There's a bunch of Ryan homes in there, but the section I was in was all custom homes. But when I move in, they give me this folder. Hey, congratulations on your new house. Here's all these service people available in the area. But what a better way than contacting the people that actually did the plumbing in the house. It's an easy conversation. Hey, listen, I know you're just moving here now to Tampa Palms, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. We built your plumbing. We can service it better than anybody, and that's kind of the thought process behind it.
Absolutely. I mean, there's not a whole lot of people that can get into a trade or get into home service that already has thousands of customers that don't even know you've already serviced them.
Right.
I mean, you mentioned Corey Lakes. We plumbed houses in Corey Lake Isles. They probably have no idea Alpine Plumbing plumbed those houses, especially the further away you get from the original owners. After most people don't stay in the same home for more than 8, 9, 10 years. So that's really been our the main thing we're focusing on right now, is letting people know like how we can help them. And
okay, so let me ask you this logistically, as a business owner, from a structural standpoint, is your grandfather still involved in the business, or is it you and your dad?
My grandfather is definitely still involved. He's he's
you
still
said
involved.
you said that with a little bit of vigor. He's still involved, so he's still making checking on you.
Oh yeah, I mean he's not so much day to day, like coming in 9 to 5. He'll work 4 days a week. He does paperwork. He's still, him and my dad are co-own the company together, so he's still majority owner. Obviously he's, at that stage of life now where he can work those 4 days a week and go travel and spend time with my grandmother and his grandkids more. So he's definitely enjoying that aspect. But no, he's very involved in day to day, and he's definitely a presence still at the company. So
okay, so he's given the blessing. This is, you and your dad are going forth with this new arm. You have the blessing from your granddad. But structurally, from a day-to-day standpoint, and I'm just thinking like logistically, crew-wise, right? So the crew that you need to go service is one thing. There's a guy with a truck can hit X number of homes in a day, depending on your scheduling and your logistics. How many crews are you guys running on these new tracks still? I mean, like, what is the structure of the company? How many guys do you have total? How many trucks do you have total? How many jobs are you doing in a given week?
So we got about 20 trucks going on the new construction side right now. Yeah, we got a really good team, man. We got 20 trucks. We got a lot of guys.
I see you everywhere.
Yeah. We got 20 trucks on the new construction side right now. With the home service side being so new, it's really I'm running the truck, I'm managing it, and I'm doing all kind of wearing a bunch of hats at once.
Yeah.
But no, on the new construction side, we got about 20 trucks. 3 supervisors, making sure the day-to-day goes smoothly. And we really do pride ourselves on our logistics and operation. We run a really, really clean, well-run organization with our inventories got to be spot on. Our time management's got to be spot on. The way we just totally reorganized our warehouse and our shop. We really pride ourselves on our process and our logistics and in that aspect for sure.
And where is that? Where is home base? Where everybody's going out from on a given day? Is it Land O'Lakes, Lutz, Odessa? Where are you guys based out of?
It's in Odessa. It's not far from Sickles High School, right in between Sickles and Van Dyke.
So does that make it easy for you? Because like I said, I like, it's no podcast BS. I mean, like, I see you in Union Park. I see you in Land O'Lakes. I see you all that. So is that location good because you guys can go down 19 if you have to go to Pinellas County, go down the Sun Coast, and then come across 54? It's kind of enough arteries for you to get where you need to go?
Yeah, absolutely. It's so central. I mean, the bulk of our work's definitely up here in Pasco County. Right. I live in Land O'Lakes. You like you said, you see me at Union Park, but it's just south of Tampa is having the same explosion of growth that we're having up here. If you go down to Riverview, Brandon, Valrico, all that entire area has been blowing up. So we've done a lot of houses down there. So I got to go down there to service people too, while still also servicing people in our own neighborhood in West Chase, Odessa. And
right.
So, that location's perfect for that. I definitely, when we first moved into that spot in the early 90s, I don't think we could have seen it being as good of a spot as this turned out to be.
Well, it's funny. I just had this conversation with somebody else. Is about 18 months ago. Like, so I have multiple publications. You know what I do for marketing in my communities and all these upscale communities around Tampa. About 18 months ago, I had gone out 54 to do something. I'm in Wesley Chapel, New Tampa, so I go out 54, and I'm like, you know what, man? Look at all this stuff just being built, and it was like a light bulb just went off and said, listen, I got to find some of these really nice communities out here that I want to start to work within, because I think the sense of community out there is incredible. Now, 20 years ago, it was probably a one-lane road with nothing but farms on the side. That's how it was in Atlanta when I lived there back in the 90s. But having the foresight 18 months ago to say, listen, this is where I need to be. And now it has blown up tremendously. I mean, my 54 West Life magazine has doubled in size in less than a year, just because of the tremendous, excitement that it brings to the community and the businesses that are in it, because they see that area is it's just booming. It's crazy. And you guys have been there since the 90s. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, for sure. It's like I said, being in the spot we've been in, I don't think I've seen so I've been actually working for Alpine since I was like in high school. And before, it was like, especially right after the real estate crashed, we would go out of our way to like Manatee County and all these different places. But over the last 10 years, it's just been so concentrated up and down 54 that a lot of, we could have like just done only communities on 54 and been perfectly fine. Obviously, we still did some stuff down south, but it's been incredible to see.
Well, now, and the other thing too, staying close to home, you guys probably already have this mapped out, but the stuff that's going on up on 52 and 41 north of Connerton, that is going to be a whole explosion the way Odessa was over the past 10 years. That's kind of the next evolution here as Tampa starts to grow upward and outward. And I'm sure you guys are embedded with a lot of that stuff out there as well. That's an incredible story. I love you're already our client. You're already flushing our toilet. Let us help you. Let us help you clean it now. So we kind of touched on this a little bit. What is, you just talked about you and your wife, you moved into your new place. You guys have these hobbies. What do you guys do besides damage people's homes with golf balls? Do you do, are you surfers? Are you skydivers? What other stuff do you do for fun?
Man, I got to say, we've, like you said, we do golf quite a bit. I got my grandparents are on the lake, so whenever we can get out on the lake with them and wake surf or do anything like that, that's always a good time. You'll find me. I'm a very social person. I really enjoy getting together with friends, catching the game, or grilling out, hanging out. Definitely are some of my favorite things to do. Love going to Lightning games. Those are a blast. But yeah, man, we try to stay active outside of our professional lives and actually get out and
any plans for kids?
Well, we just got into this house about a month ago. Yeah. So we're baby steps, man. Month. You sound like my mother.
Yeah. And then what type of work does your wife do?
She is in like she.
You don't know, do you? You don't. You national. Don't let her listen to this podcast. You paused briefly trying to figure out what your wife does for a living.
Well, she does so many different things. She does marketing and PR for a big international law firm.
Well played. She's very eclectic. She does so many different things. I couldn't pinpoint it.
She's way smarter than me. So
good recovery, bro. Good recovery.
Break it down.
So what? Sports stuff. Are you an NFL guy? Are you? Is hockey your main thing? What do you like? If you have your choice to, let me put it this way. For me, I'm an NFL guy. I love the NFL, but to go watch a game, I love being at a ballpark during the summer. I like that, but hockey games to me are hockey is the best thing to go see live, in my opinion.
I would say if I'm sitting at home hanging out, it's football. Football has nailed the TV product. It is so good.
100%.
It is so good. You just go grab a beer from your fridge. You go get some wings cooked up. You're living life. But hockey, playoff hockey in particular, there's nothing like it. I will say college football is better in person, and I'm a big college football.
Good. You're right though about the NFL. I mean, not only did they took the game experience where, well, I grew up in the Northeast, so the game experience for me at a football game as a kid was freezing my rear end off with 17 layers of clothes on, barely could see the field. Everybody would cheer and I'd cheer at the same time. Now I can be in shorts and a t-shirt, eating with one hand. Watch the Red Zone channel is like crack. I mean, literally, like you don't want to watch the Bucks get blown out or the Giants get blown out. Hey, I'm just going to go to the Red Zone channel and just see everybody score touchdowns. So, like, they have absolutely perfected that.
Mm-hmm.
But 100%. I can tell you, playoff hockey, overtime, game 7, playoff. I mean, like, it's intense. Every little flick of a wrist is like freaking out. It's intense. I love it. So tell us a little bit. One of the things I like to ask people, especially, you know, when business owners come on here, because other business owners listen to this. So this could be a personal thing. This could be a work thing. This could be getting the home service thing off the ground. But in your experience, in your life, personal or professional, when have you run into a hardship or even just a challenge where you're like, man, I don't know how we're going to get through this? And what did you do to get through it so that you came out the other side to where you're, you know, like, look, we accomplished this. We made our goal.
You know what, man? I'm actually going to go back. So I'll kind of give you some background to this. So like I said, I started working in the field in high school. You know, if I wasn't playing ball or I didn't have football workouts during the summer, I was out in the field digging ditches. I started out literally in the dirt doing ground roughs. And when I graduated high school, I kind of was in this loss of what do I want to do? And I just kept working on the ground rough crew and eventually had my own truck doing my own ground roughs. And I hated it. I mean, you're in the summer, you're sweating. It sucked. And I just kind of had this weird moment where, you know, I'm looking at all my friends going to college, you know, having the time of their lives. You know, a lot of my friends are out of town. I'm trying to kind of discover who I am.
Right.
And I kind of had this moment where I want to say I was probably about 20, 21 years old when I realized I wanted to take this thing into a home service direction. And there's a quote that sticks out of my head from Game of Thrones where Jon Snow is about to take over the Night's Watch, and the old guy there says, "It's time to let the boy die and the man be born." And that was kind of when I just had to kind of like step up and like take charge of my career and take it somewhere where I wanted it to go, rather just sit there and be miserable and be wishing I was like my friends out tailgating and having a great time at college,
right?
And instead focusing on something that I knew would build up my future and the future of my family as well.
You know, I mean, that is a great perspective to have, because really, look, not anybody, but people can come into a family business and have almost like a resentment, like, oh, this is really my dad's thing or really my granddad's thing, and I'm just kind of taking it over. And there is some part of that, right? There's an element to that. I get that. But for you to come into it and say, listen, we've been doing this for 40 years. Let me figure out a way to put my stamp on taking it to the next level, because now you're not just another generation guy doing it, which is great, but now you're a guy that's saying, hey, look, I'm making this my own in a way that I'm contributing to it. So I feel like I'm truly taking ownership of it. And now you feel like you have more, I'm assuming you feel like you have more skin in the game. This isn't just my dad's and my granddad's place. This is now our family's thing, and I'm taking this new thing to the new level. The nice thing about this idea of yours that I'm super impressed with. Now, listen, me being impressed with something is no big deal. I mean, I'm just another guy that's.
I appreciate it.
That's done my thing, right? But what I'm saying is this. I've started 2 multi-million-dollar ad agencies from scratch. One with a partner in Atlanta and then one on my own here. So I know how hard it is to do something and make it successful. The cool thing about what your plan is it's not just a one and done. Okay. So you could go, MI Homes could say, we got this 100 acres of land. You guys plumb it. It's done. It's a great big job and the company is successful. But what you're doing is now generationally creating income and a line of business and an income stream that will go on in perpetuity. So if the real estate market has another brain fart and goes to crap again, like it did in 2008, 9, and 10, this new arm of Alpine Plumbing is now still a tree that's shaking fruit for years to come. So that, my man, is ultimately like, that's the sign of an entrepreneur, smart, forward business thinker, and I give you kudos to that.
I really appreciate that, man. Yeah, it was another big reason why I did this is because I'm the oldest of 5 boys. So all my brother, like I have 2 other brothers working at Alpine right now. So it was kind of like one of the things where I was like, well, if all of us are going to be here, we need to get some more stuff going, man. You know, it was just my dad and grandpa. That's one thing, but you know, splitting this 5 ways might be kind of tough.
Yeah,
you know
now you got to blow it out. Hey, listen, for Christmas this year, everybody gets a service truck, and that service truck is stocked with faucets and wiring and plumbing and everything you need, and that's what you take out into the world. Merry Christmas to the MacCullough boys. Get to work.
There we go. Perfect.
So listen, man, what is the one thing, I mean, other than people already knowing that you guys put their plumbing in, if there's one thing people need to listen to why they need to call you for service, other than the fact that you've already worked on their pipes, that they need to know about Alpine Plumbing and dealing with you and your dad and your granddad and your brothers?
Well, you just said it, you know, dad, granddad, you don't stick around for 40 years unless you have a reputation and something that you're proud of to stand on and tell your customers about. And that's something that we offer that, you know, there are probably other companies that have been around for a while, but I mean, we've built this city pretty much from the ground up in a lot in some sense. So right. I would say if you call us, you know, you're calling somebody with a legacy and a and a reputation in this town for doing really, really good work and taking good care of their customers. So I think that would be what I would say sets us apart.
And then if they need you, if today someone's listening to this podcast and they go to flush their toilet and it's not working or they're having an issue, what's the best way for them to get you?
So I'm actually going to give you my personal cell phone number here, 727-453-8344. Don't hesitate to call, text, whatever. I always pick up for my customers, and I always make sure they're well taken care of.
So, folks, if you're listening to this, and first, if you're a business owner and you're listening to this, to listen to another business owner who took something that had been wildly successful for decades and come up with a new spin on how he can not recreate the wheel, but create another wheel. That's the lesson to take from this if you're a business owner. Your business is never too big to grow and to come up with a new line of business to make you even more successful. That's number one. Number two, if you are a homeowner and you are, well, we've already established, we used to go to Manatee County. We're not going to Manatee County as much anymore, but if you want to find out, you know, how you can get Alpine Plumbing into your home to help you with your plumbing needs, don't waste your time. You can go on the internet. You can fill out a form. You can do all that stuff. Save yourself the time. Call Caleb directly, 727-453-8344. Caleb MacCullough, service manager, Alpine Plumbing. Thank you so much for being a good neighbor. Thank you so much for being on the Good Neighbor podcast, man. You have a great day.
Thank you so much, Mike. Have a good one, man.
Thanks for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Passcode. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnppasco.com. That's gnppasco.com or call 813-922-3610.